All right, nerds, welcome to the Biss podcast, Dynasty Football Podcast. This is episode 3. Before we get started here, make sure you're dropping a follow on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the socials at Biss If you're enjoying the content, be a friend, tell a friend. Make sure you're interacting with it. It costs you nothing. Let's grow together. So let's build our dynasties together and let's grow. On today's episode, I have 3 next men up. So I'm going to identify 3 players that in 2 years from now, again, always looking kind of that 2-year window and into the future. For sure, within 2 years, will be or could be the next man up, their path to greatness, and I'm going to outline it today. One is pretty obvious. The other 2 are kind of deeper leagues and stashes, or pick them off of waivers. But without further ado, let's get into it. My first name I want to bring up is Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze for the Chicago Bears is the next man up. Keenan Allen is currently an unrestricted free agent. Maybe Chicago brings him back. Maybe he re-signs with Chicago, but as of right now, he is not as of this recording. So who knows where Keenan goes. But if Keenan does leave town, he leaves or vacates 70 receptions, 744 yards, and 7 touchdowns last year. Not only that, we have exciting news. Ben Johnson joins the Chicago Bears. Now, Ben Johnson has been highly sought after as an offensive mind in the league. He lands in Chicago, where historically Chicago has not been, a high-power offense. But just look what he did with Detroit. It's a very exciting times in Chicago for Caleb Williams, for DJ Moore, and by way of that, Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze coming into his second year as a wide receiver. On average, second-year wide receivers get like a 42% bump in production. And on top of that, like I said, those vacated receptions and yards and touchdowns, not saying Rome Odunze is going to get all of it, but even if he gets a portion of it, he finished at wide receiver 49 last year. I can easily see top 15 upside, if not this year, within the next 2 years, for sure. So my advice is to go to the Rome Odunze owner and make sure that the Rome Odunze owner is valuing him correctly. Like in my Dynasty League, Duva owns Rome Odunze. I've already hit him up and talked to him about it, and I assure you he is valuing him correctly, if not overvaluing him. It is a Superflex league. He was trying to get Bo Nix out of the deal for Rome Odunze, so I personally hate. Do you ever have those owners in the league that you absolutely hate trading with? Duva is mine. Like, I don't like trading with Duva. I can never seem to get a good deal. Always have to overpay if he owns one of the players I want, and he typically always does. He's very astute at fantasy football. He's very good. The second name I want to bring up is Jalen Wright, running back for the Miami Dolphins. Now, Mostert is out. They just signed Madison in free agency, but Madison doesn't scare me. Like, Madison is nothing more than a depth piece. You have Devon Achane in front of Jalen Wright at the moment, but Devon Achane is not built to take all the carries. He's not, he struggles to stay on the field sometimes. He actually, if we're looking 2 years down the road in the future, he's an unrestricted free agent in 2027. And we know what the NFL does with those second contracts and running backs. So Jalen Wright could be poised to take over that backfield sooner rather than later, whether it's by production or by injury. My advice to you dynasty managers is Jalen Wright is a must-stash/own. So if he's not owned, make sure you pick him up. If you have him, I'm stashing him. Whether I'm a championship contender or I'm rebuilding, in either situation, Jalen Wright is a firm stash for me. And the third and last name I want to bring up is Jalen Coker, wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. Now, Carolina Panthers, they had a resurgence last year. Bryce Young was as disappointing you can be in his rookie season, but he took a step forward last year, which is exciting. So this depends on a couple of things, right? So Bryce Young has to continue to take a step forward. In comes Dave Canales to Carolina, which is exciting. We saw what he did with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Downside for Jalen Coker is they re-signed Adam Thielen, old man Adam Thielen. Like, again, for this year, if he stays on the field, Jalen Coker might not be as big of an impact. But 2 years down the road in 2027, I better not see Adam Thielen on any team in 2027. I have all love for Adam Thielen, but it's time, bro. So Jalen Coker would slide into that slot receiver role in the Dave Canales offense, aka the Chris Godwin role. And before Chris Godwin went down to injury last year, Chris Godwin was like a top 5 receiver in fantasy football in that offense, in that slot receiver position. So it's very exciting. My advice for you dynasty managers out there is go pick Jalen Coker up from waivers. He's currently on waivers in the league that I'm in. I just haven't pulled the trigger because I need to drop somebody. So I need to take my own advice. I need to figure out who I'm going to drop to pick up Jalen Coker, because Jalen Coker is another stash for me. Again, you'll probably find him on waivers. Make sure you're picking him up. So my 3 next men up, Rome Odunze. Even if Allen comes back, but especially if Allen doesn't come back, second-year bump, and vacated receptions and yards and touchdowns. My second next man up is Jalen Wright. Should be taking over that Miami backfield sooner rather than later, whether it's injury or production. Again, I'm not scared of that Madison signing, and Achane sometimes struggles to stay on the field, as well as not being built for that 3-down role. And the third and final next man up is Jalen Coker. Old man Adam Thielen just needs to get out of the way. Coker would slide into that slot receiver position in the Dave Canales offense, aka the Chris Godwin role, and be a very productive and very valuable fantasy asset. So go pick him up off the waivers, stash him along with Jalen Wright, and then go try to just make sure your fantasy managers in your league are valuing Rome Odunze appropriately. All right, so that's it for episode 3, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, drop a follow on all the socials, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Be a friend, tell a friend, and I'll see you in episode 4.